We'll begin by discussing proof of authorization, bylaws, conflict of interest, and nepotism policies. Section 2-1371 of the County Code requires that organizations have a governing board whose members serve without compensation. These organizations must also follow a written conflict of interest policy that aligns with IRS and state law requirements and county regulations. Section 2-1372 further specifies that organizations need written bylaws or policies that define their operations. This includes management, audit, fiscal procedures, and policies that prohibit nepotism and effectively manage conflicts of interest. In the next section, we will cover these documents in more detail and provide tips on submitting them for a successful application. Proof of authorization is a critical document identifying the individuals in an organization authorized by the board to sign and execute contracts. By signing on the organization's behalf, authorized individuals commit the organization to use the funds as promised in the application, follow proper employment and financial practices, and return unused or improperly spent funds. Organizations can typically find proof of authorization in their articles of incorporation, bylaws, or board resolutions. A common reason applications are ruled ineligible is that their proof of authorization contains missing or outdated details about who is authorized to sign on behalf of the organization. For a seamless process, ensure the proof of authorization is clear, particularly if there are any leadership changes between the application and contract dates. Avoid naming specific individuals to prevent complications when officers change roles. If the articles or bylaws include spending limits, ensure proper board approval is in place if the grant award exceeds those limits. For example, if an executive director is only authorized to sign contracts under $10,000, but the grant is $20,000, the organization will need additional board approval or a board resolution. If any updates to the proof of authorization are necessary, please promptly inform the Department of Finance to avoid delays. The Corporation Counsel's Office will also review all contracts to ensure those signing have the appropriate authority. In summation, the proof of authorization must generally demonstrate that the board has approved specific individuals to sign and execute contracts or binding documents. It should also include a signed certification showing board adoption or approval. Bylaws are the internal rules that govern an organization. They define the responsibilities of officers, board members, and staff, and establish how decisions are made within the organization. Be sure to submit the most current version of the organization's bylaws with the application, reflecting any updates or amendments. Organizations commonly encounter issues when their bylaws lack a wet or electronic signature of the executive director or the highest-ranking member, along with their printed name. In addition, the title must be indicated, with an explanation to confirm validity. This signature may be from the initial documents of bylaw adoption or by the current executive in charge if these are unavailable. Bylaws should also be submitted as a single, complete document. Submitting multiple files can complicate the review process, so it's highly recommended to submit everything in one file. In the context of the county, a conflict of interest arises when there is a substantial probability that action taken by an individual will result in measurable direct benefits accruing to the individual, as opposed to benefits accruing in general to an industry. For the VI grant application, organizations must upload the relevant clauses that address conflicts of interest, typically found in their bylaws or policies. This policy must apply to the governing board and other key individuals within the organization. It should outline how the organization manages potential conflicts rather than simply defining them. Ineligible applications commonly overlook this step. Lastly, ensure the document indicates where these policies are located within the organizational documents. Nepotism policies. When we talk about nepotism, we're referring to the practice of appointing persons to positions on the basis of their blood or marital relationship to the appointing authority rather than on merit or ability. For the Vai grant application, organizations must submit a copy of their nepotism clauses, which can also be found in their bylaws or organizational policies. Applications are commonly ruled ineligible due to failure to properly address key policy requirements. Hence, this policy must apply to all representatives of your organization, from volunteers to the executive director. It's crucial that these clauses explicitly prohibit nepotism and outline how the organization handles potential conflicts. Merely defining nepotism will not fulfill the requirement. Additionally, the document should indicate where this policy can be located within the organization's policies. If the conflict of interest and/or the nepotism policy is not part of an existing organizational document or is newly adopted, be sure to upload a document with signed certification showing the Board of Directors' approval.